Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
So this is a 1-2 game at Sandia Casino in Albuquerque.
Yep.
Okay. There's some big stacks here at this game. So the effective stack is actually 664. I'm under the gun with 880, and my image is that I'm the old man coffee.
Okay. Where is this played out of, by the way?
It's played at Sandia Casino in Albuquerque.
Oh, okay. I have a couple buddies that might be driving through the area, although I think that they might have passed through. But I just happened to be looking up any poker in New Mexico, and I saw that you're from New Mexico, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, quite. We've got quite a few Indian casinos with poker here.
Okay, so and it's 2-5. Is that right?
It's 1-2.
Oh, 1-2 and what's the cap structure?
The cap is $500, but then you can buy in for one half of the biggest stack. And there's one guy at the table with a stack of 1,700.
Okay, so 1-2 500 cap, half match the stack. Okay, and you are the OMC. Hero is OMC.
Yeah, and I'm under the gun.
Okay.
So under the gun +1, he's got a stack of 720. And he's been maniacal. He's sometimes he'll raise 40 pre-flop with a blind raise pre-flop. He's called down with bottom pair at times. Bets as big as $100 and $200. So, and he could be on tilt. He's lost maybe about $400 recently.
Okay.
Okay, and then the other main player is on the button. He's got the effective stack of 664.
Okay.
So I have ace of spades, ace of hearts under the gun.
Okay.
And I raised to 15. That's probably my first question. Of course, it's been a loose table with these big stacks. Again, being the old man coffee under the gun, I don't want to fold people out, so I just raised to 15.
Well, what's the standard rate? What is everybody else raising to? Just out of curiosity.
I think I'm a little light here. I would say standard might be 20.
I understand you don't want to lose the action, but people, this is often a question that people say, well, how much are you supposed to raise to? And then you just sort of have to gauge how much you're going to get called. You might You might be losing some value by not raising enough here. I know it's 7.5x, but that's why it's kind of difficult in live games to say, well, I'm playing $200 effective and a 1-2 game. I'm 100 big blinds deep. Well, not really. You're not 100 big blinds deep when the average open is to 10x. So if everybody else is doing a standard 20, yeah, I'd probably go up to that to try to get called. So, but you make it 15. And what happens?
I make it 15. And basically, it calls all the way around. There's one fold, MP1, but everybody calls. Okay. It gets to the button.
So Greg, all right. So what can we learn from that when everyone called, you're 15?
Yeah, it's been a loose table, so that was.
So you probably want to size up because you can get more value, right? So everyone calls except for one guy. Okay.
Yeah. Now the big blind. It gets to the big blind. He's short stack. So he goes all in for a total of 80.
So the big blind moves all in for 80. Of course, that's going to open the betting back up to you, right?
Right.
So he moves all in for 80, and so let's say that 7 people have called. You made it 15, and 7 people called, so that's 105. Now this guy makes it 80, so it's 185 dead. Right, in the pot. So what are you thinking here? You're thinking about re-raising, I'm assuming, right, to isolate the field?
Well, I'm thinking about that. And also, I still am stuck with this image that I'm the old man coffee. And if I re-raise, it's going to knock everybody out going to except the big blind. And so, I'm after those big stacks. So the guy right next to me has 720 to my left,
Uh-huh.
and then so there's still three big stacks left on the table. So I end up just calling.
Well, here's the thing with calling is that it's not such a gross size raise when he makes it 80 because it's only 65
Hmm.
more. Just from what you said that everyone called your $15 raise, I feel like if you call, everyone's going to call behind you, which, I mean, it could be okay, but a lot of people will be uncomfortable in that spot. You could also click it up. Basically, it went from 15 to 80, which is a $65 raise. So you could just make it like 145 as opposed to like doing something crazy like shoving. But um, I would probably only do this if there were really, really a lot of short stacks behind me and I just didn't really care what came out. But it's definitely risky. So you call,
Yeah.
and
So
how
now
many
it's
people
only
call behind you?
$65 to
Right.
the others to call,
Hmm.
and there's 265 in the pot. So I think that was my mistake, is I didn't add up the pot as we were going.
Yeah.
So yeah, clicking back probably would have been a good way to juice it.
So how many people called behind you? Did everyone call?
So uh, no, I had the guy to my left and the button. So there were
Oh,
only
okay.
so there's a total of four people called for 80.
Wow. Okay. So a couple people actually folded. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
So now the pot's like is it 320? 320? You got 80,
380, I
60.
think.
One, two, three, four. You got the all in for 80, and then three people call behind you, or two? Oh, because of the dead money. Okay. 380.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So 380. And now you've got about what, like 570-ish left in your stack, or 580, something like that.
I had, well, the effective stack, yeah, is probably 584. I've got like 800 left.
Right, right, but like 584. Okay, what's the flop?
Yeah, right, right. Okay, so the flop is King of Spades, Jack of Spades, Seven of Diamonds.
So you have aces with the ace of spades, and it comes out King of Spades, Jack of Spades, Seven of Diamonds. The pot is
Yeah.
$380. You've got a guy all in, so now you're building a side pot here.
Mm.
And boy, I mean, I don't know. Like, unless something crazy happens, I can't imagine how you're. I mean, at 1-2, how you're going to be able to get away from this. I would probably bet pretty small here. Maybe try to make it look like you're weak or something. Bet like 100. You do have the ace of
Uh-huh.
spades in your hand. Now, if you're an
Yes.
OMC, I've heard this strategy before. Again, you have the ace of spades in your hand. And I've heard this strategy that sometimes OMCs will play a little bit backwards, which is fine because if you check, sometimes maybe people think that you wouldn't check like aces or ace king here, so they might stab. But the problem here is that you've got the pot is protected because you've got a guy all in. So
Mm.
I would
Yeah.
just tend to play
Okay.
this spot straightforward, but I could maybe sometimes see checking here.
Yeah, so that's what I ended up doing. I ended up checking, thinking that this flop has got to hit some people. So I'm trapping them, and so I went ahead and checked.
Okay.
And so the guy to my left, he bet 100.
Okay. So he bets
Now this
100.
is he bets 100 into 380.
Okay.
So then the button, who's the other guy left in the pot, I think he picks up on this weakness. This has been the maniac guy to my left. So he raised it to 300.
So plus one bets 100 into 380. Now this guy makes it 300. And he's the one that
On the
started
button.
664, so he had 570. So he's almost like all in. So he's not moving all in. He's basically putting half his stack in. So now the pot is like 780 and it's 300 for you to call. You've got aces with the ace of spades.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I could see it kind of go both ways. I was gonna say like if you bet the flop here and then say you bet like 125 or 150 and then the guy in the middle raised you or went all in and then the guy behind moved all in on top, I could probably see you folding. With
Oh,
this
okay.
with this action of check 100 and now this guy makes it 300, uh I mean, yeah, he could have like King Jack. He could have a set of sevens. But also you checked, this guy bet 100 on the flop. He might just have a king that he's trying to protect. I would probably just go with it as played, especially if you check to induce. It's probably going to be close, but I have a hard time folding here in this particular spot, even though the pot is big.
Yeah. So that's what I ended up doing. So I went all in over the top.
Okay.
So they both called. They both ended up calling.
Okay.
And the guy to my left, he had king of hearts, 8 of hearts.
So just king. So the guy bet 100. The button raised to 300. You check raised all in, and the guy called off with king 8. That's why I would have a hard time folding this hand. What did the button have?
The button had offsuit. He had jack 10.
Oh, so you have the best hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't even remember if he had, 10 of spades. So,
okay.
He ended up getting a jack on the turn, but so it was what it was.
Listen to this, Greg. If it just based upon this hand that you're telling me, I would have a hard time folding any hands to these guys unless it's really, really in a special situation and size up. I hope you scooped this pot. Did you end up scooping the pot?
No, I had the aces, and there was a 10 ended up falling on the river. So the guy had jack 10. So
yeah, but what are you going to do? I mean, I still think it's probably a little bit dicey to just call. But I will say, though, if the players are this bad, I like your play more than at the start of the call. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you tell me that, well, if I call and anybody catches any top pair or middle pair, they're going to go broke. That's why I'm doing this. Then I don't have a problem with it. That's an injustice. I mean, that's unbelievable. And like I said, you just have to separate yourself from the outcome. But I mean, you played it for max value,
Yeah.
Everyone's saying that they're moving to Albuquerque. So.
And you can imagine with those stacks, it was wild. That guy with to my left, he'd been up to 2,200. It was just a crazy game.
Greg, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.